Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Movie Deputy Reviews, where if you looked at the title or you see this poster right here on my side, if you are on our YouTube, you know we are talking about the new Disney Pixar movie, Hoppers. Now, what is Hoppers, you may ask? Well, it was a little bit confusing from some of the early teasers, so I'm doing the air quotes on that because all we saw was this little lizard pushing this phone going, lizard, 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 lizard. That's hard to say that many times in a row. Lizard, lizard, lizard. But, I mean, it's like the little emojis, lizard, lizard, lizard. So, I'm going to get tongue-tied doing that. I'm pulling out my notes here on my phone from the movie. It's like I always take my notes. But a good way to describe this movie is Beaver, Lizard, Coconut, Rocket Ship. Now, I hope you're as confused as I would be if I was listening to that. If you watch all through the movie and you sit all the way through the credits, that will actually make sense. Are there any rocket ships in this movie? No, except on the phone. So this has nothing to do with space travel. But this movie is a little bit of Avatar, a little bit of The Wild Robot, and a little bit of Big Hero 6. You may be thinking, what in the world are you even talking about? Well, this Disney Pixar movie obviously capitalized on the whole thing with The Wild Robot that came out last year, which, by the way, if you have not seen it, that's one that you do not want to miss. This one, I'm going to share with you the poster. Actually, you probably notice I'm starting with the podcast image, and there is a reason for that. This is the poster. Now, mind you, there were other posters to choose from, but I liked this one the best. So I was like, okay, this one's obviously not in English. So I took this, and then I found the title card and everything from Disney Pixar on that. Sorry, my eye is really itchy. Patero was up in my arms a few minutes ago. And as much as I love them, they do make me itch. But let's go back to the podcast image. That way you can at least see the word Hoppers. Now, I want to share with you the trailer, and then we'll get into, of course, more about the movie. There we go. Let's get over here.
Doc! Oh, I need your help! Mabel, I'm in the middle of class. A class that you are enrolled in.
Sup, Mabel?
Come with me. The traditional methods to understand animals just weren't working. But we've done it, Mabel. We created a revolutionary technology that gives us unprecedented access to the animal world. We call it Hoppers. Huh? We put this into this. Yes, this into this. Mabel, be careful! Whoa. And they were in the same den.
No.
I understand you.
What you doing, Mabel?
This is incredible!
And now imagine from Mabel's perspective here that you're finally in a world where you can understand what all the animals are saying, hence the Wild Robot reference on that. But just being caught up in all of this.
Hey, what's your name, Beaver?
Mabel?
You want to live here, you better learn pond rules.
What are pond rules?
And I was wondering that too, and yes, it does explain.
Oh, I am clearing the rest of the day. Let's hear it from Mabel, everyone!
And that is Tom. Tom is the little lizard character, and they actually only say his name once in the entire film, so you really have to pay attention. But just, that's not a spoiler, but that might help you learn who he is.
Rule number 1, don't be a stranger. Looking good, Brad. Tom, Laquan, Tamara, Prudence, Pete, Peter, Petey.
Yeah, it's crowded, but we're still alive.
Rule number 2, when you gotta eat, eat.
How did he get a little crown?
That's your question?
Fellow animals! The humans have stolen their last inch of land from us!
There he is.
We gotta fight back!
She seems to have become a Joan of Arc type rebel leader.
Mabel, we do not use hopping technology to upset the animal world. She found the button.
The Animal Council has been summoned. The shrill beaver is right.
Yeah!
Their treachery ends here, now!
Yeah!
Let's squish the humans!
Yeah! Wait, squish?
They squish us! Why shouldn't we squish one of them?
I really don't think we need to go all the way to squish.
That was intense.
Gather control.
Over here!
Your life is in danger. You must do exactly as we say, Harry. LOL, I mean, Jerry. Drive now. Rocket ship.
Hence the rocket ship reference on that. And of course, we are back. And you may be wondering with some of the content on this, is this a guilty or an innocent? I am giving Hoppers an innocent rating, but I'm going to say for 8 and older. I think there is some content in this that's going to be a little bit intense for the younger viewers, unless they are watching it with adult supervision in case they have questions or in case any of it is scary to them. It's nothing like anything like scary, but there is just some scenes that were intense. When I saw this in the theater, like everybody else, there were some kids that the parents had to take out because they were quite upset with some of the content. I talked to the parents afterwards, and it was they just thought it was a little bit too much. The kids, I think, were 3 and 4 that they had at the time, but just kind of an important thing to touch on there. But when it comes to the pond rules, you may be wondering what those are. And don't worry, no spoilers here. And of course, I did give you Tom's name too. Like I said, you really have to pay attention. But the pond rules are don't be a stranger, because it's harder to be mad at somebody if you know their name. When you gotta eat. And what the animals eat for the most part, other animals. And so you kind of see a little bit of that. And then the third rule is we're all in this together. And that just kind of reminded me of the whole High School Musical. We're all in this together. So that just kind of, I mean, I'm sure that was a reference, an unintentional one, or maybe it was intentional, who knows. But so if you haven't shared that movie with your kids, that might be a thing of interest to maybe touch on a little bit. But with Hoppers, you have Mabel, and Mabel is the young lady you see that goes into the little beaver body. And she deals with major rage issues, and she deals with a lot of discipline because of that. And so she faces a lot of that. And the one person that keeps her grounded is her grandma. And so the grandma introduces her to the glade. And the glade is a place to relax. It's a place to just be quiet and focus on nature around you, just to meditate and just focus on something else. And this was always Mabel's special place because of her grandma. Well, when something happens, Mabel turns to the glade because that's all she has left. Oh, no spoilers. I'm not going to spoil that for you of what happens there. You can kind of use your imagination, though. You're probably right, but don't worry. It's not as bad as it seems. It's nothing like tragic that you see. I mean, it's just something that happens. And so that might be another thing you might need to explain to a younger viewer of why grandma is no longer there. So that might be another intense conversation that might be a little bit much for some viewers. But so Mabel keeps going back to the glade because it's the one thing that keeps her centered. Well, when something starts happening at the glade, she turns to one of her professors, Professor Sam, and that is the older lady that you see in the trailer. That's Professor Sam. And she's like, help, I need help to do this. And Sam has this hopping technology that Mabel came across completely on accident. And so Mabel jumps into the body of this beaver in an attempt to try to save the glade. Now, it is a lot more, there's a lot more to it than that. And there's a lot more of like things that she's facing. And it does get a little bit of the whole environmental, save the environment type thing. It gets a little bit into the political correctness on some of that, but it doesn't go too heavy into that, thankfully. Like I said, it's a little unusual. There are things that reference back to movies like Finding Dory and some other stories like that. And you'll meet Diane, and she's an interesting character as well. But there are some scenes with some of these animals that just adults, they're going to make you scratch your head. It's like, I know it's complete animation. I know it's silly. I know it's not supposed to be realistic in any way, shape, or form. But when you see the seagulls do some of the things that the seagulls are doing, you're like, it's like, oh, come on. Even for a cartoon, it's like, oh, come on. Just the silliness of it just kind of takes it to the next level. And It is. It's a lot of fun. It has an atypical happy ending. It is a happy ending, but not in the typical sense. If you do go see this, there is a bonus scene in the credits that you are not going to want to miss. So that is something that I think there's a post-credit one too. Let me check my notes. See, oh yeah, there is an in-credit bonus scene and a post-credit. Oh, that's right, that post-credit bonus scene one. That, yeah, you do not. If you go see this, stick around through the very end, because the very end credit bonus scene, it's very touching, very sweet, and it just kind of connects a bunch of the pieces of the story together. So if you're anxious to get out there and get going, just try to stay around a little bit more, because I promise it's worth it. So you may be wondering what I'm giving Hoppers. Well, I actually am giving Hoppers a 6 out of 10 on the Deputy scale. It's a little higher than I typically go on a lot of the Disney movies or animation movies, but this one does have an important message, and it's done in a really cute way. It's just a bit intense at times for the youngest of viewers, and if you are looking for movies that stay completely away from the whole PC for kids, this one is, I mean, at least watch this with your kids so you know if you're going to want to guide them towards this way of thinking or away from this way of thinking. But there is a wholesome message here that if you look hard enough, it'll stay with you for a long time. So I hope that helps. I hope you're enjoying this adventure. You don't want to miss tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow we are talking about a movie that was very surprising to me in a lot of different ways. So be sure to hit subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you get notified of the latest and the greatest Movie Deputy content. And as always, I will be back soon. Bye!